Welcome to the Not So Suspicious podcast with me and a recent friend of mine, Michael. Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Michael Parks. We just met not long ago, but we're in a podcast now, so let's get it going.
It isn't a better way to really do it, so if you don't know me previously, probably for the better. Anyways, get out of the way. So, you say what this podcast is going to be about.
We're pretty much going to cover, in general, in this podcast, we're going to cover all the major sports. Baseball, football, soccer, basketball, and we may get into a little bit of hockey.
I get into a bit of skeet shooting, if you know what I mean.
Skeet.
I think usually today's focus is probably going to be the NFL draft, especially the first round, and what might come out of it post-draft.
Well, and we'll hit up the first round here. We'll see what we'll go through every team's needs. We'll see what the possible picks on the board are, and then we might give a small outlook of the winners and losers of the first round so far.
Yeah, and before we get into that, here's a question for both of us: where will Ndamukong Suh land after the draft?
My personal opinion, I feel like he's going to go back to a contender. So you've got to look at the teams that are ready to win now. So I could see a return to LA, but it would have to be on a pretty cheap deal.
I don't think they're going to do that myself. They clearly cut ties. Who knows? It's the NFL, anything's possible.
Yes, it is.
In my opinion, I think, yeah, he's either going to go to a contender or a team on the brink of it, where like himself could push the team over the edge. I think Seahawks would be a perfect fit. Right near his home. He's getting near the age of retirement, so, and the Seahawks need that one good piece to support Jaron Reed in the interior defensive line.
Agree.
And plus, he'd be a great mentor to the young Reed as well. Because, Reed's coming up on his contract year this season, so
could be what he needs to get a little bit better production. A veteran in there to show him a few things.
I mean, it's clear as day he's not going to get more than 10 sacks again this season unless something really magical happens, but
especially with the loss of Frank Clark, it'll be helpful to have another guy that can get behind the line of scrimmage and take off some double teams.
He was saying that Ndamukong Suh can play the end.
Well, I'm saying if you put him there in the middle with him.
Yeah. Seahawks run the classic 4-3 as well, so
he'll draw a lot of the double teams.
Yeah, especially the pesky centers and right guards of the league. I guess let's get into the draft, because that's really the only meaningful thing that's probably going to happen besides unrestricted, undrafted free agents.
Yeah, and then next week we'll hit up our thoughts on who did the best in the draft and what surprises we saw throughout.
Yeah, and who is the bust of the draft, because it happens every single year.
Every year you've got that one pick that just doesn't make any sense.
Remember Johnny?
Or that one team. Yep, Johnny Manziel a couple years ago.
I mean, he could be making a comeback, but who knows?
Well, he better hope the XFL sticks around for that comeback.
You better hope the XFL lets him in the first place.
Exactly.
I see. A lot of teams don't need quarterbacks now, so kind of his time to get back in, which was probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, he'd be hard to find himself as a third stringer at this point.
I could see him as a second stringer, depending on the team, of course.
Yeah, depending on the team and the depth.
Maybe like on the Raiders or something, have someone who can back up Derek Carr and still put up decent production.
Someone who's in love with him, like John Gruden was pre-2014 draft.
I just realized how perfect that would have been, like if that reunion happens.
That would be a headliner for sure.
A match made in heaven in Gruden's eyes.
Exactly. Well, anyway, we'll get started here. Round one, pick one. We got the Arizona Cardinals, and we know we've heard a ton about who everyone thinks they're going to pick.
I think we're both in agreement that we aren't going to have them like that.
Yeah, I don't think. I think a lot of it's been smokescreen at this point.
Kind of like the Russell Wilson to the New York Giants fiasco.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the Cardinals, they're going to take one of the two best defensive players on the board, and I think that's either Quentin Williams or Nick Bosa.
I personally easily see him picking Nick Bosa here, not just because he has the potential to be the better Bosa, but because you're taking him away from a division rival.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Definitely.
it's clear as day that the 49ers, if Bosa falls, he's gonna be picked by them. Even Bosa knew this because he had to delete some of his tweets.
Yeah, Bosa has to delete his tweets so he can fit in San Francisco.
Welcome to modern age media.
So I could definitely see Nick Bosa going number 1, and then I could definitely see Quentin Williams going number 2 to the San Francisco 49ers.
If you had to pick one right now, who would you pick first overall, Williams or Bosa?
Based on team need, that's a tough one because Arizona Cardinals have a lot of team needs. But I'd give the slight edge to Nick Bosa right now because they really have no true edge rushers that are dominant anymore.
Considering Calais Campbell's been long gone at this point.
Yeah. Calais is gone. Robert Kimdichi's not done nearly what he was supposed to out of college.
And don't forget, Calais Campbell was a force for 49ers even at his age, so having a replica of him, hopefully. I mean, remember, the Cardinals were an amazing team without the most amazing roster. It was because of players like Campbell, so to find a replacement Campbell in the draft who could easily be better than him in his career, I say go for it.
I say so too. So that brings us to the second pick. So you've already heard my opinion on the second pick. I think if Nick Bosa goes first, I think Q Williams will go second.
Same here.
So then we'll move on to the third round pick here. So we got the Jets who need defensively, they need some help.
Yeah.
If in my opinion, if they were to stay at this pick, I think Ed Oliver would be the choice here.
Yeah.
Or Josh Allen, because they do need some edge help as well.
Yeah.
And that would give a speedy edge linebacker.
Yeah, I could see that as well. A lot of current day mocks have Josh Allen or Ed Oliver going in number 3, and I can easily see why. Of course, a lot of them have Quentin Williams going as well, but that ain't us, is it?
No, sir, that is not.
I personally see getting Josh Allen myself.
Yeah, I'm also going to lean Josh Allen here. If you look at their linebacker core, they don't have that speedy edge rusher type that can get to the quarterback, and that's what Josh Allen did his senior year at Kentucky. He got to the quarterback consistently with his 17 total sacks.
And my whole thing is, I personally think Oliver is the better player. I'm getting confused for a sec. Ed Oliver is the better player in my opinion. But being able to have a solid edge guy can play the Von Miller type of role, obviously not to this extent, but to have a nice person who can have a run defense, pass defense, and just being brilliant in the blitz schemes.
Definitely.
Price for a team as defensively ordinated as the Jets.
Yep, definitely. So that will move us on to our fourth pick, which is the Oakland Raiders. Now this is where,
things get interesting.
John Gruden's a wild card. He surprised us all last year by picking Colton Miller in the early teens, which a lot of people classified as a big reach.
I think another D lineman is going to be taken here myself.
I think we could definitely be looking at an Ed Oliver type right here.
Easily. But I will say there is speculation that he might draft a quarterback, which some people are saying Drew Locke might go as early to the Raiders. I find that completely dumbfounded and flawed logic.
I've also seen a lot of Kyler Murray to the Raiders in this early first round, and I
think if he drops, there's more of a possibility than, say, the Cardinals. but still, you have in my opinion, with the right weapons, an above average starter in Derek Carr, who's a really safe quarterback.
Derek Carr's a really safe quarterback, and you've invested all that money into him, and he's only in his third year of this, this major contract.
I mean, look at what's his face, Tyrod Taylor. He was never considered the best, but he was considered a safe quarterback who had record low interceptions for seasons, but no one ever talked about it.
Exactly. If you cut Derek Carr right now, in the 2019 season, your dead cap is $27 million. Now, at the end of this 2019 season, he's only got a $5 million dead cap. So,
after that,
that's something there's something to look for. Do they think they can bring in a quarterback and let him sit for a year? But then, you're going to sour things in the Derek Carr camp.
I found an interesting trade proposal, per se. It just popped in my head. Maybe the Giants, this draft, trade for Derek Carr. If Kyler Murray drops to the Raiders, they might take him and dish Carr to the Giants, who are in need of a quarterback.
That's a very interesting trade idea. I've not heard that one yet.
Because Derek Carr is a surefire starter quarterback.
He is. He would give the New York Giants offense an immediate upgrade.
Yeah.
Now, if they could just find, a number one receiver that put up a lot of good yards,
or
when he had a quarterback throwing to him,
or a tackle as well.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know how much Derek Carr would love the idea because he got sacked the most last season on the Raiders. So going to an arguably worse line with the Giants, which only have one real possible star in the future, being their left guard. Yeah, don't really see him being happy, but
I don't either. So final picks for the 4th overall pick: Raiders trade.
It's either going to be Kyler Murray with a future trade to the Giants, in my opinion, or they'll just pick Ed Oliver.
I'm going to go against that grain, and I'm going to say that the Oakland Raiders take Devin White at number 4.
Bold move, but it makes sense. They got rid of Khalil Mack, so
that's a they just signed Brandon Marshall, previously of the Denver Broncos, in the off season here. That does not give them a lot of good middle linebackers. They've got Tahir Whitehead, but Devin White is an immediate upgrade over both of those players, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's young, he's fast, he can cover.
Yeah. And
I think that's my pick there at number 4.
And I will say, I'll add on, in college he created a QB pressure in almost 25% of his rushes or blitzes, which is an unheard of theme for a blitzkrieg style linebacker.
Definitely. So this will transition us over to pick number 5, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And right here, for me, I would pick Devin White. But since he's already off the board for you, what do you take?
For me, this one's a little bit tricky as well, because you've got Bruce Arians coming in. They're obviously going to ride with Jameis Winston for one more year to see what he's capable of under Bruce Arians, who is a very good coach when it comes to developing and helping quarterbacks along.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see an offensive line pick right here to help keep Jameis Winston upright.
Am I sniffing Jawan Taylor?
I think that will be my pick here, is Jawan Taylor.
Yeah, excellent tackle.
I think that for them gives them a starting caliber. The left tackle, he fits in immediately. It'll help the run game. Maybe it'll help get that second year Ronald Jones going a little bit more.
I think myself, there was a debate a while ago between which is better, Taylor or Dillard. I would say Dillard's more surefire pick, but has less of a ceiling. While Taylor's more of a wild card but can become an all-pro tackle.
Exactly. Dillard, in my opinion, can fit a lot more than just one position on the offensive line. I think you could move him to guard or tackle
easily,
and he'd fit in. But his ceiling wouldn't be as high as Taylor's would be.
Yeah, And one of the things, the Buccaneers, if this doesn't work out, they have probably one of the easiest ways of blowing it up next season, like nothing ever happened.
Exactly. And then when they do decide to bring in their next franchise quarterback, they've got a young offensive lineman there at left tackle, which in this day and age, when you have a right-handed quarterback, is their blind spot. So that would really help them out.
As anyone who's played any video game of football before knows, the blind spot is needed.
Definitely. If you do not have an adequate blind spot when you're playing Madden, prepare for your sacks.
Yeah, remember Russell Wilson before he had what's his face, the left tackle, Dwayne Brown?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man scrambled for his life. No, he's actually able to just hide behind his left side of his line. Proves how much a left tackle means a lot, or right tackle, depending on the quarterback. But most QBs are right-handed.
Exactly. You don't see a lot of left-handed quarterbacks anymore.
Which is ironic because I'm pretty sure Wilson's left-handed.
Yep.
But just the way he plays the game, I think he prefers the left side.
Yeah. So this will move us on to pick number 6, which is the New York Giants.
Dwayne Haskins.
I think you're right about this one. I think Dwayne Haskins is the move here. He's I won't say he's fallen to number 6. That's about where I would have projected him to go. I don't think he's even top 2 quarterbacks in this draft, but the Giants.
It's a really shallow quarterback class this year.
It's very shallow. The Giants, they like their pocket passing quarterbacks. Eli's a pocket passing quarterback. I think they'll go with the safer play here, which is Dwayne Haskins, and he'll sit for a year before he plays.
Easily. He was pretty much the Patrick Mahomes of the college football realm as a pocket passer, 50 touchdown passes, which having Dwayne Haskins feed off of Eli Manning, who is a career pocket passer and could make the Hall of Fame, I mean, it's worth it in the long run. The Giants obviously blew it up, so, I mean, you don't just trade a 26-year-old one of the best wide receivers in the game named OBJ, who has some of the best hands in the business. I may be exaggerating there, but you don't trade someone like him who's extremely young, has at least 5 years left in his prime, and not blow it up.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Especially with the type of team they have.
Young running back.
Yeah, because we'll get to this later. It's like Frank Clark. He was 25, but the Seahawks could afford to ship him.
Yes. So we'll now transition over to the Jacksonville Jaguars at pick number 7.
With Jawan Taylor gone.
I think, in my personal opinion, I think the play is still offensive line. I think they take what some people consider the best offensive lineman in this class, and that's Jonah Williams.
Yeah.
Jonah Williams would give them an immediate starting position at either he could be either at the left tackle or right tackle position. I think you slot him in at right tackle opposite of the other Alabama tackle, Cam Robinson.
Also play him as guard as well. Well, probably a lot of people like him as well. He's a very versatile offensive lineman.
Exactly.
He has the speed to play the outside and the power to play the inside.
And they've got that new quarterback over to keep safe.
Yeah, they're the savior of Philadelphia. How's he going to do in Jacksonville?
Let's see if his skills will transition, because they haven't transitioned, and they haven't been there for any of the other teams he's played for.
But remember, skills don't matter if you get sacked each play.
Exactly.
The only skill you have there is how much of a chin you have.
Well, we'll find out what Nick Foles has this season.
Yeah.
So now,
okay,
go ahead.
First, what I say, yeah, I think Jonah Williams is a call here since Jawan Taylor's off the board. But I could see Hawkinson going as well. Get that sort of the type of player that Nick Foles would like to pass to.
To give him like a Zach Ertz type weapon.
Yeah, because remember Zach Ertz, even when Wentz was gone, he wasn't getting fed 12 catches a game. Man, still got a lot from Nick Foles. A lot of it. But if anything for our Jaguars, I just picked TJ Hawkinson so the Patriots won't get him.
Yeah, that's true, but then you got to worry about Patriots getting Noah Fant later on.
Yeah. Just make sure they don't get a tight end out of Iowa.
Yeah, plot twist. I don't think either of them fall that far.
Same. Just depends on where Fant's going to go.
So, final pick for the Jaguars?
I think I'll go with you saying Jonah Williams.
That's where I'm going to keep my pick.
I'm surprised we've only split off once so far.
I know.
Because the top 10 picks are almost secured. It's just where they're going to land. Now, I will admit, we do realize Kyler Murray has yet to be taken.
Kyler Murray has yet to be taken, and I think, honestly, I don't think he's a first round pick. People that listen to this will probably go ahead and turn our podcast off because they'll say these guys don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But he's got a year of starting at Oklahoma and a very friendly offensive scheme. I'm not saying he's a bad football player, but I think his decision to come play football is not a good decision. I think he should have stayed at baseball.
He would have been a superstar in baseball, bar none. To be fair, same can be said, playing devil's advocate, same was said about Russell Wilson, how he could be a star shortstop. But he chose the NFL, and look where he is now.
Definitely.
Arguably top 2 quarterback in the league.
Now, I'm not saying that Kyler can't develop. I'm just thinking that a lot of these teams in the first round, he doesn't fit their type. Even the Cardinals with new head coach Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah. I think he's going to develop into a good starting quarterback, but he's not going to live up to the hype. But I will say, Kyler, if you're somehow watching this, prove me wrong.
We'll try to send it to him over on Twitter, and we'll tell him to give us his thoughts.
I mean, all for more attention for us.
Definitely. So moving on to round 1, pick 8.
Detroit.
We got Detroit Lions. This one is going to be a tricky pull in my opinion.
Without explanation, because I really can't put anything, I'll just take Hawkinson here. Just
I'd say with the
they don't have a surefire tight end compared to their wide receivers, their running back, their quarterback, their O-line. Just don't have the tight end to finish it off.
Definitely. I think, with the departure of Eric Ebron, who never really did much in Detroit, but he was a good target.
Yeah.
I think TJ Hawkinson would be my pick here.
Good replacement. Give Stafford some more fancy padding weapons.
Exactly. Give Matt Stafford some more weapons to throw to.
Yeah. Get those sweet fantasy points.
Definitely. So now we'll move on to the Buffalo Bills at pick number 9.
Yeah. But I'm not hating on Matthew Stafford. I'm saying the man's fantasy guru.
Yeah. He's a pretty great fantasy quarterback. He'll get you his yards.
Yep.
Now here's where Here's where I'm going to put my first trade of the day. The Bills will trade back with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now it's not a big trade. It's a 2-pick difference from 11 to 9. I think what they'll do in the process is they'll end up giving up one pick this year later in this draft and maybe a future pick, but that's not a big jump. So I don't see a huge return for Buffalo, but Buffalo
first and a third. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd say a first and a third. Buffalo has a lot of offensive line needs.
And the next few picks won't be taking a line, it seems. You awake? Well then. While Mike is away at the moment, I will say myself, if the Bills do this trade with the Bengals, I think the Bengals are picking Kyler Murray here. Joy, I have to explain myself. I personally think if they trade up and Kyler Murray's still there, they're taking Kyler Murray, and it's worth the first and the third for them. Because I love Andy Dalton as a player, but he's never gonna be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. as a starter at least. So that's my take. As I'm waiting for him to wake up.
The Bengals, I think, will try here. They tried trading up with Denver last year to get Josh Allen because they really didn't think that he would fall back. Lo and behold, Denver took Bradley Chubb. End of story there. But I think with most of the high-end offensive linemen gone, I think that the Bengals will trade up. New coach Zach Taylor, who comes from a Sean McVay system. He's Sean McVay's quarterback coach last year. I think he will get a quarterback that he can mold. I think the plan will be to sit him for a year, but I think halfway through the year, that plan will be scrapped, and Zach Taylor will have Kyler Murray starting at quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. Honestly, I see if I don't ever think the Giants will be in favor of Kyler Murray as their starter quarterback for the upcoming year. So if Arizona doesn't take him, which I don't think they will, he'll fall. Obviously, the Bills, they don't need a quarterback right now.
Exactly.
But the Broncos do. So if I were the Bengals, yeah, I'd skip a spot above them to get their lock for a QB. Which,
exactly.
Speaking of locks, pick 10, Denver Broncos, Drew Locke, in my opinion.
I think it's really hard for me. I'm a Denver fan. Y'all will find that out, I'm sure, throughout the series of this podcast that we do.
Easily.
We've all heard that John Elway is in love with Drew Locke. I think that the Joe Flacco trade kind of complicates that a little bit. There's talk that Drew Locke's not a super accurate passer, and he's not this and he's not that. In my personal opinion, I think Drew Locke is the number one quarterback of this class. He's got experience playing in a conference in college football that rivals no one, or that no one can rival it, the SEC. He's played against great defenses. He's not always performed great, but I think that'll help him translate a little better at the next level. But I think currently, I think Denver will take defense here. I think they will pick Devin Bush, linebacker from Michigan.
Bold. That's bold.
I think with the current infrastructure at middle linebacker, with Josie Jewell, a pick out of Iowa last year in the 4th round, and I can't even remember his name. That's how really insignificant he is.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Todd Davis. Todd Davis is a great run stopping middle linebacker. He's a great guy. If you're running a 3-4, he's your number 2 all day, in my opinion, right now. Okay. But I think in today's modern NFL, you need to cover running backs and tight ends. Devin Bush is speedy. He can cover. I think Devin Bush is the pick for Denver here.
Sure. No, honestly, I can agree with that as well. But I think if they were to pick Drew Locke, they would have either Keenum or Flacco, whoever wins the battle, to be starting first, unless Drew Locke pulls some Russell Wilson stuff and wants a starting job in the preseason.
Yeah. Well, remember now, Case Keenum is in. He got shipped to the Redskins.
Oh yeah. Jeez, there was a quarterback carousel last year, wasn't there?
There was, yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, you can probably pick Joe Flacco's brain if you pick a quarterback.
Yeah, I'd say so.
He's a smart quarterback. Maybe not the most efficient, but...
Joe Flacco, in my opinion, has never been elite in his career. He's been a game manager. He had the playoffs in 2013 where he 2012, where he excelled, where he dominated the defenses on the field.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay fair. They kind of got the, not to rub it in, but the sort of fluke over the Broncos. Where
I think,
the cornerback didn't really do its job.
Yeah, Raheem Moore, even if he decides to interfere with the receiver and get a PI, that's better than posting up and trying to swat a ball.
I mean, he should even then be going for the interception for game time.
Yeah, that was very crushing. But
I mean, they beat the 49ers, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I think, and this is kind of off track a little bit, I think Denver wins the Super Bowl that year if they don't lose that game.
Yeah.
That was the best all-around team that John Elway had in Denver. offensive and defensively.
Okay, so next up we got pick 11, the
Which
traded Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I think the Buffalo Bill here will go offensive line, but which offensive line is the question.
With Jonah off the board, with I forget the name. I'm finally writing these down, but Jonah off the board. The other guy off the board, I can't remember his name.
We've already lost Jonah Williams and Jawan Taylor.
Jawan Taylor, that's it. So there's really one true first round tackle left, in my opinion.
I think they go, in my opinion, I think Andre Dillard would be the pick here. He is the most, he is, at this point in the draft, he is the most complete offensive lineman left. He can fill any hole in that offensive line that the Buffalo Bills will need him to do.
Yeah.
And if they want Josh Allen to get better at passing, they're going to have to give him more time to throw the ball.
I think we virtually agree on Dillard being the pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think this trade has the Bengals and Bills both winning, in my opinion. Bengals get to pick their quarterback before the Broncos. If the Broncos do pick a quarterback, Bills get a bit more draft capital because they have a really young team.
Exactly.
And you have your franchise running back in Josh Allen. Yep.
So next year, when all the good quarterbacks come out, they can finally transition him.
I'd actually love to see him at running back. He actually seems like he'd do good.
Yeah. We'll see.
He's a quarterback that hurdles defenders. Where else do you see that?
Tight end. He's got tight end size. We know that much.
True. Anyways, next we have the Green Bay Packers, and this could go one in a million ways.
They are one of the hardest teams to ever decide on who they will take in the first round. Again, I think here this is where the second trade of the first round happens. I think they trade back 2 spots with the Atlanta Falcons. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I still have Ed Oliver on the board.
No, I forget. I think Ed Oliver went already.
I guess he did it. I don't know if because I think I put Josh Allen at the Jets and then Devin White at the Raiders. So I think I still have Ed Oliver available.
Okay.
And that's where I get the trade from. I think the Falcons will jump up and grab Ed Oliver, who is, at this point in the draft, the best player left. Or the best player available. You could stick him next to Grady Jarrett on that defensive line and let him go to town.
And we apologize if he was already taken. That just proves how good he is.
Exactly. He's so good he can get picked twice and play for 2 different teams.
I mean, draft rights only existed for how long now?
A few seasons.
Yeah. Honestly, myself, I'll agree with you on this one for simplicity's sake because I think it's another win-win, and it's not going to cost the Falcons that much.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is, if the Falcons, they might also want someone like this. I think this before the off-field concerns happened to Montez Sweat, but ever since his work ethic's gone into question, yeah, I don't see him being picked this early.
I don't either.
I still pick Oliver over, but I think edge has a lot more boom than a interior defensive lineman.
Exactly.
Which sucks for a guy like Ed Oliver, who could easily be a number 1 pick in a draft, but because of his position, limits what he can do.
That's not a premium you pay at the number 1 pick, unfortunately.
At the same time, offensive guards and tackles have been taken number 1 overall, and tight ends have as well, so it depends on the team.
Yeah, it really does.
Maybe a team can go 12-4 instead of 4-12 because of a defensive tackle.
Exactly.
Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins, the team that's in purgatory right now.
Yeah, they say they're not in tank mode. I don't believe that.
If they're not in tank mode, they're in mediocrity. The bad mediocrity.
I think you brought Ryan Fitzpatrick in because you know what he is. I think you take something to help your future quarterback you're going to take in the next season or two. And I think they go offensive line here. I think they take my pick here is Cody Ford, offensive lineman from Oklahoma.
Can't say I've heard that name in most of these mocks before.
He's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, there's bound to be one. I mean, Minkah Fitzpatrick was considered a reach for a pick for the Dolphins.
And look how that turned out.
Yeah, he's one of the premier safeties in the league now. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair, there's like 12 top-tier safeties in the league. I don't think the league's ever been this in-depth with safeties before.
It doesn't really seem like it has been before.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everyone has a star in their team at safety. Or
definitely
assumed to be a star. Yeah. I'll agree with you on that for the shock factor and the fact Dolphins make some boneheaded calls that turn out in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, for all we know, they're winning the Super Bowl because they have Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Never know in this league.
Honestly, I could, if they don't take Cody Ford, I could see Montez Sweat.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But I think for right now, I'm going to go Cody Ford because I think in 2020 draft they will go quarterback.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Dolphins might go quarterbacks maybe third round this year. See what falls to them.
Definitely, they could grab a late guy. You know, your Jarrett Stidhams.
Sure. And I keep referencing it, but it deserves referencing like a possible Russell Wilson person, or just third round pick, when starting job is a stud.
Mm-hmm. And it could always happen. You never know.
And the only people that knew about it were college fans.
Exactly. So we'll transition now to pick 14, which is the Green Bay Packers after the trade.
Noah Fant.
I'm also going to go Noah Fant here because we saw Jimmy Graham in this passing attack last year. He really didn't do much. You know, the Packers they've been missing a dynamic tight end that can get open, get the ball. I think with new head coach Matt LaFleur coming in, a very offensive-minded guy, I think they will go offensive weapons here for Aaron Rodgers.
They built their young defense already, pretty much.
Yes.
And that's what you do. I think Colin Cowherd said best. When you pay your quarterback, you build the defense. Green Bay's just done it. Seattle has done it for the past how many years since the Legion boom ended?
For a few years now, yes.
Technically, yeah. So they already started, both of those teams. So I think they're both ready to get over the hump.
Exactly.
Which honestly, I'd love to see a Packers. I doubt this would happen at least this season, but see a Packers-Seahawks rematch in the NFC Championship.
That would be a good rematch. Maybe this time
that's a game.
Maybe this time the Packers defense won't cause four interceptions and then lose.
Yeah, maybe this time Russell Wilson won't throw 4 interceptions.
Exactly.
Because even back then, that was uncharacteristic of him. He was still one of the most safe quarterbacks.
Yep, he was.
Which he still is, even though you've seen the type of passes he does.
Even though he's running around for his life sometimes.
And passing some of the most beautiful times in NFL history, in my opinion.
Yes.
Remember that Chiefs game. Exactly,
yeah. I remember that game.
Man throws it like 40 yards in the air, drops right into Locke's hands. Literally the next play does the same thing to Baldwin.
Mm-hmm. So I think now we'll move on to pick 15, which is the Washington Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard recently, as of today, that Dan Snyder, the owner, has taken over the draft room. So
this is going to go always wrong.
This will be the biggest reach of the first round draft, in my opinion, and that reach will be quarterback Daniel Jones.
I think it's DK Metcalf.
I think Daniel Jones is a second round quarterback at best. Dan Snyder has always made such great decisions. I think right now, what they'll do is they'll take Daniel Jones because they want him. He's there. They don't want to possibly lose him in the later rounds or trade up for him. And then their ultimate goal will be to let him sit for a year behind Case Keenum or whoever else they still have over there, Alex Smith.
Yeah, but the thought occurs. Drew Locke. Drew Locke is still on the board because the Broncos opted to not take him.
Drew Locke is still on the board.
So
and I think
this would be, I am again prove me wrong, but this is gonna be a choke job for the Redskins, similar to everything they are. Because I think like if they reach and took DK Metcalf here, at least there's a lot of upside with that pick.
Yeah.
It could either flop hard and it's a bust, or it can be really good and it's a steal. I mean, look at players like John Ross, who's considered a bust right now, or Jared Goff, who was considered a bust.
Yeah.
And then Jared Goff goes to the Super Bowl with John Ross when he's finally put into games, has 7 touchdowns on 21 catches. Players can be turned from busts to stars in the right system.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I think.
So I will say that's in definitely Daniel Jones's favor. At the same time, I think DK Metcalf will be the more safe pick, even though it's still an extremely risky pick.
Yes, still extremely risky. I think, with good old Dan Snyder making the calls, you've got, in my opinion, a no-brainer between Daniel Jones and Drew Locke. So they're definitely going Daniel Jones, in my opinion.
That's fair.
We move on to the Carolina Panthers at pick 16.
See, this, if I didn't pick DK Metcalf here, this is where I'd pick him at.
I think I'm going to go offensive line for them and Garrett Bradbury. I think they need a little bit of offensive line help. Their number one priority should be creating lanes for Christian McCaffrey and keeping Cam Newton on his feet.
Yeah, that's fair. Because what first thing we need is Cam Newton with a bad offensive line, because what the Panthers run an offense based around Newton. He runs like 12 times a game on direct plays.
Exactly.
And obviously compares like Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, same sort of ideal. Only difference is we've seen Wilson with a bad O-line. He's still a magician. Have we truly ever seen Cam Newton with a bottom tier offensive lineman? Or O-line?
Man,
I mean like below top 25.
I don't think so. Not in his career.
And I would hate to see that happen because he's a fun player to watch. So
exactly, yes. So I think that'll be my pick is Garrett Bradbury, offensive line.
Yeah, I see that. Next up, we have the New York Giants again,
who have passed on their quarterback.
But there's one guy still available that's a quarterback.
There is one guy still available. Now, the question is, do you believe Dave Gettleman when he thinks that Eli Manning has more years left in him?
Or do you believe in picking now so you can build for the future while still having the opportunity to possibly win now?
Exactly. I
think picking I think it's gonna be an obvious pick for me.
Drew Locke?
Yeah.
I think it's
my opinion, there's no risk in this play.
There's not. They got this pick from trading Odell Beckham.
They got their future quarterback, hopefully. And he's just going to be built behind Eli Manning.
Exactly. I think this pick will be Drew Locke at number 17.
I mean, we saw how Mahomes and Alex Smith turned out.
Yes.
People doubted Mahomes, and Mahomes fell. They traded up for him. They won it.
Yes. So I think we're in pretty good consensus there at pick 17. Moving on to pick 18, which is the Minnesota Vikings.
A new head coach. Oh, what?
Yeah.
I mean, you can technically trade picks for coaches. It has happened.
It has happened.
I mean, John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Teams were considered actually trading a second-round pick for him.
Yep. I think, my personal opinion, I think right here, they're a wild card in my opinion. I think they could use offensive line, but all the offensive linemen are gone. All the really good ones.
Yeah, we're getting to the point in the draft where these are fringe playoff teams.
Yes.
Where some of those teams, the point of need isn't clear because they're good in everything, but they're not great.
Yes, I think at this point for them, you'll go best player available, because you're just sitting right there in the middle. So I definitely think, in my opinion, this is where Mcgarry will go.
Bunch of people don't think he'd fall this far, but at the same time, a lot of people have him falling to teams like the Seahawks. So who knows?
It could definitely happen. I just think with the current landscape of our draft.
Yeah, same. This draft is really heavy on just pick the best player available in the possible position of need.
Mm-hmm.
So sucks not seeing him go down to my Seahawks, but So pick 19.
I think the Seahawks will get a good pick later on, and I'll let you know who I think that definitely is.
Yeah, my own theories myself. But let's go into pick 19 now.
Pick 19, it's the Tennessee Titans, a team I despise with all my heart. I think they will take Montez Sweat, edge rusher out of Mississippi State. He's fallen because of a heart condition he got diagnosed with before the combine, but he's top talent in this draft. I think and the Titans need edge rushers.
Yeah.
So I think that's my pick here for them is Montez Sweat.
Yes, I can agree with it. Only that two players in a row people said would fall to Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, it's just happening right before our eyes.
I think Seattle's going to – who I have Seattle taking, I think will be a really good pick for them, and I don't think they'll be missing out too much.
Make me happy. But, yeah, I agree. I have some unsavory for the fan base-wise because Seahawks fans are a bunch of seagulls.
Mm-hmm.
They want everything, but don't care about the scraps.
Exactly.
Anyways, pick 20, Pittsburgh Steelers.
My Wi-Fi is being a little weird right now, so I had to cut it off.
Hey, it's technical difficulties too. This is going actually surprisingly well, all things considered. Anyways,
yeah, not too bad.
Byron Murphy, Greedy Williams. You can go either or here, and it's not going to be a bad choice.
I think so. I think either or, you've got a good corner in your hand. That's something that defense is lacking. Yeah. Is a really true number one corner, and I think they could get either one right here with Greedy Williams or Byron Murphy.
Yeah. I personally have Greedy Williams going because I think Byron Murray is a better corner, but there's just this thing about Greedy Williams that makes him want to be drafted before.
Oh, I understand. I totally understand.
Like, you can't put into words, but just you're going to draft him before.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Noah Fett and Hawkinson for some reason. Maybe they're both equal tight ends, but one's above the other just naturally.
Yes.
So, 21, my team.
The Seattle Seahawks. Now, I don't know if this guy's been on your mind here recently, because I know we got all these other defensive linemen, edge rushers. I think the pick here is Dexter Lawrence.
Not really adjusted to the name. I know he's out of Clemson, but
out of Clemson.
D tackle. This is interesting.
His stats don't tell the whole story. He is a phenomenal athlete. He performed very well at Clemson. He can get to the quarterback. He can stop the. I think he's an anchor right there in the middle of the defense on the line.
Yeah, I agree. Wait, they need a support for Jaron Reed, and I think this pick comes into question due to Seahawks wanting to dump Suh after this draft.
Yeah.
If they don't, pick Lawrence. Seahawks have never been the type of team to draft off of stats.
Yes.
Under the tutelage of Carroll and Schneider. I mean, it's actually impressive how all they do is draft physical athletes, and they make studs. So this will probably be a perfect situation of a really amazing athlete. I mean, 6'4", 342 pounds. That's run stuffing right there.
That is.
Like, number 2 recruit in college football in the 2016 class. Pretty solid.
I think he'll be really worth the pick. The only other pick I can see there, I could see Brian Burns, edge rusher.
I don't think Seahawks need safety. I think Pedro and John Snyder understand that. But the possibility of seeing someone like Taylor Rapp in Washington, sorry, from Washington in Seattle,
which is in the state of Washington.
Yeah, he doesn't have to move.
And I think you'll know where my next Seattle pick in the first round is going to go.
Probably. Anyways,
so
Baltimore Ravens.
So, pick 22. I think in my draft, this is the first wide receiver that comes off the board.
DK Metcalf.
I think DK Metcalf will go here.
I technically had him slated earlier, but I'm slowly growing onto that Daniel Jones choke job of a pick. So
I think DK here gives Lamar Jackson a solid number 1 wideout. And let's face it, Lamar Jackson's not the most accurate passer. He needs as much wide receiver help as he can get.
Yeah. So I think we're in concurrence. Just DK Metcalf fits the scheme, and imagine him playing, training against that tough defense of the Ravens. Even without Suggs, they're still formidable.
I think that's where I'm going to head with this pick.
Yeah. No, we've entered the playoff team, so besides the Raiders, who have 2 more picks.
Yeah, the Raiders. I think I've got their picks pretty much nailed down at this point.
Yeah, I can see one of them easily happening, but 23, Houston Texans.
Houston Texans. This team needs offensive line help badly.
I see Eric McCoy myself.
That's not a bad pick. I could definitely see that going. In my opinion, I think it's either going to be, like you said, it's going to be Eric McCoy, or I think they're going to take Chris Lindstrom, not Charles Lindstrom. I'm thinking of a person in real life. Chris Lindstrom, offensive lineman.
I say, what I like about the Eric McCoy pick is, if Taylor Rapp went to Seattle, he stays in the state. So having Eric McCoy being a Texas A&M player going to the Houston Texans, he doesn't have to move that far.
That's very true.
And I think consensus is just pick the best lineman available.
Exactly.
Only issue is, and it's good but bad, but the draft's pretty heavy in O-line. Take that how you will, because it could be a bad thing, because players could be busts in disguise.
Definitely.
24, Raiders from Chicago, and one of the worst trades that could actually pan out for the good.
I think here the Raiders will go wide receiver. You know, they got rid of Amari Cooper last season. You know, he was going to need to be paid soon anyway, so I could see why they traded him, and they got good value out of him. They got a first round.
Yeah.
I think they'll go Marquise Brown out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, I can see how. I'm never against that. They do need the wide receiver. But I will say I agree with this, but at the same time, do the Raiders risk Josh Jacobs falling? Because they've shown clear interest in that player.
They have. I think you come to the point to you look at the Eagles and the Colts, which are the next two picks. Do they need to draft people, and do they need to draft a running back? Personally, I don't think the Colts will draft a first-round running back this year. They've got a few other needs. And then I think the Eagles, they still have Jay Ajayi. I don't think they'll draft a running back either.
Yeah, the Eagles are a lock for not picking a running back. They got their running backs up to wazoo.
So I think, and I don't think anyone's in danger of trading up for a running back right now at this point. So I'm going to go Marquise Brown.
I mean, Seattle exists.
Well, Seattle, I hope will not trade up and grab this running back this year.
Rashawn Perry is going to pan out. Mark my words. You got a special guy when he's chill with being the backup to Chris Carson.
I understand. And a lot of people hammered that last year. A very bad pick.
Yeah. Why'd you pick Penny? Realize when he wasn't injured, he was actually phenomenal for us, all things considered.
Yeah.
When I remember this, just pause from the draft for a sec. It was against the Rams, the second game in LA. Someone said if Rashad Penny rushed for more than 100 yards, he'd get a full chest tattoo of his face.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's yet to happen yet, but man, you made a promise. Do it. I can see the one dislike on this video already.
Yeah. So I think that's where I'm going to go right now at 24.
Marquise Brown.
Is Marquise Brown, however you want to pronounce that.
Marquise Brown, the marquee matchup. I had to do it. Okay, 25 Philadelphia Eagles. What's up?
The Eagles. This is a team I'm really not too familiar with.
I would say Byron Murphy. I see a lot of people that sort of want him or see them taking him.
Yeah.
And I'll say that because I don't really know what they need per se. So I'm just following the trend here and saying if Murphy lands to the Eagles, don't take him.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip. I'm going opposite of you like we did with the Steelers pick. I'm gonna go Greedy Williams.
So you got Byron going first. I got Greedy going first.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, they're both landing on the same team, just flip-flopped.
Mm-hmm.
So, here you go. The cornerbacks are set. Well, man, the real question is, will Rock Ya-Sin win the best names in the draft besides Montez Sweat? And I forgot some guy that was named. I forgot the name of it, but it was just like brilliant. No, I think obviously that's not the last name, but it was like I always think it was Dominate, but it's clearly not it.
I wouldn't know without looking through a list.
Same. Anyways,
but I think right here you've got the Colts coming up.
Yeah.
You know, what is that team really missing at this point?
Sometimes it's hard to say. But I say get a wide receiver.
I'm going to go wide receiver as well, and I'm going to go Paris Campbell.
I was going to go N'Keal Harry.
I think Paris Campbell will be the surprise pick in the first round. As far as I think he's not really been slated as a first round pick. He's the fastest receiver in this draft. He's the Tyreek Hill of this draft.
Now,
and
what interests me, I'll say this is who's that one receiver who AJ Brown?
Yeah, AJ Brown, who is opposite of.
Do we not
DK.
see him being a first-round talent this year, or first-round pick?
I don't think he'll be a first-round pick this year.
I believe he's a first-round talent, bar none. But
he reminds me of the Cortland Sutton pick that Denver got last year. First-round talent, but the way the draft falls, he's going to end up in the second round.
Yeah, this is a pretty front-loaded draft. This is kind of like the perfect draft for NFL teams. You have a bunch of great guys in the front, and it just slowly trickles down to the later rounds.
Yep.
Like last, I think it was 2 years ago, a bunch of people were actually making 7-round mocks because that's how deep the class was.
Exactly.
And 2 years ago, players like Chris Carson, who were drafted in the 7th round in MERS, are now in the league's up-and-coming running backs. and probably would be the best right now if it wasn't for that injury in like week 4.
Yeah.
You hate to see it, but he's still hurdling people, so it's all good.
Yeah.
In the words of his own, I forgot Eric Reed was 6'3".
Yeah.
He literally sizes up the cornerbacks before jumping over them.
Definitely.
We're in the age of where halfbacks like Saquon, Zeke, Carson. Ironically, 2 of them are power backs, but they all can just hurdle people. And then there's Josh Allen.
Yeah, true.
Next up, we have Raiders version 3.
Raiders version 3, and I think you know where I'm going with this. I'm going Josh Jacobs.
Yep. Josh Jacobs, running back, the Raiders. Tale was always time, honestly.
Yep, it's been reported as of recently that they really love Josh Jacobs, and we found out today that
Beast Mode's retiring for the
second time, and this is probably the last time.
Yeah. Hey, he was still pretty productive in Oakland. I'm not gonna hold that against him.
Yeah, but I think
he's never gonna be remembered for being an Oakland running back. That some will mark as a stain on his career, but I don't find it like that. And I was chill with it. I mean, we got a 5th round pick in return because he was still under contract with us. What's with the Seahawks just keeping people under contract when they're retired?
Well,
I mean, Marshawn Lynch, now Cam Chancellor, technically, even though Cam's just staying on the PUP list so he can get the paycheck.
Yeah, that's true. You never know. He may change his mind.
He may come back. Who knows? I highly doubt it.
Yep.
I mean, Ricardo Locke might come back, but he has a spinal injury because of that blindside that I think Sean Lee gave on him. Yeah, that was one of the scariest moments in NFL history right there.
I remember that hit.
Just seeing someone just go limp, just middle of the field near the star.
Yeah.
Gives you shivers, especially if he's on the team you root for.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to pick number 28 in the first round, which is the San Diego Chargers. Oh, my bad.
Yes, the San Diego Chargers,
who are just playing in LA right now.
Yeah. We don't know the Las Vegas Raiders are just playing in Oakland right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean, but anyway, the Los Angeles Chargers at pick number 28. For me here, I'm going to go opposite of what you said earlier. I'm going to go Eric McCoy to the Los Angeles Chargers.
I guess I got to go opposite then and say Chris Lindstrom.
We'll find out who's right one of these days.
Yeah.
And we'll move on now to or go ahead.
Oh man, there's a possibility that how Phillip Rivers he hasn't regressed at all, but he's getting old. Like 4 years time, he's gonna retire, probably.
Yeah.
I think age of 40. Like perfect time to retire.
Very true.
So I see a lot of people saying like it might take a Will Greer if he last Chargers. I don't think so. I think it's too early for them to be picking a quarterback.
I think Will Greer could definitely be a 2nd round pick for them.
I don't mean like rounds wise. I think it's too early. Like the year's too early. Like 2 years from now, pick him up.
Yep.
Next up, the Kansas City Seahawks.
Yes, the Kansas City Seahawks.
Yeah, the Frank Clarkless Seahawks. Surprise me.
This one's kind of tough for me as well. But what are the needs that this team has?
Everything but nothing.
Everything but nothing.
They're a young team. They're developing. They're in that stage. Because the only things that are set in stone right now are halfback, wide receiver, quarterback, and linebacker.
Yep.
Everything. Because I don't know how many times I say it. The Seahawks have a good receiving core in Locke and Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
Chemistry is an underrated facet in the NFL, and you don't have to be a 6'6", 250-pound freak to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Calvin Johnson, you're a Hall of Famer. I love you, but
yeah.
Sometimes it does take skill. It takes chemistry.
Exactly.
Even though Doug Baldwin outspeeding everyone when he's past them still surprises me.
Yep. I'm gonna make a surprise pick for you that you may like, but it's someone in this draft is going to stay in their home state of Washington, and they're going to go to the Seattle Seahawks.
Damn it.
And that is offensive lineman Caleb Mcgarry.
Let me look this guy up. When I look up Caleb, I see McGilvery.
It's Caleb with a K.
Not the hatchet wielding hitchhiker.
No, not that guy.
That was brilliant. Yeah. I could very well see this happening. I mean, stay at home. Yeah, there's really nothing against this guy, in my opinion.
No, I think he's a good solid offensive lineman pick.
And he lives in Fife.
So I think that'll help them with their offensive line needs, definitely.
Yeah, easily. And thing is, the Seahawks love running 6 offensive linemen, but they don't have the tried and true right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So to pair up with someone Caleb Mcgarry, who's right at home, and by that means might perform under the home team sort of thing.
Yep.
So like, imagine if the Sounders got a basketball team and I got drafted by them. I'd have that much more reason to play because it's my home team.
Yes, exactly.
I grew up with these people. Therefore, number 30, the New Orleans Packers.
The New Orleans Green Bay Packers Saints.
I'm just doing that every time there's a trade. I'm just combining the names.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I understand. I think this one's kind of tricky because again, it's you don't really have an idea of what the team wants or what they need.
They already got tight end in this draft. So.
Yep. So personally, I think they're going to go defense at this pick. I'm going to go edge rusher Clelin Ferrell. Because I mean, what kind of edge rushing do they have in Green Bay right now?
They have that one linebacker who gets shot out of a cannon each time he runs.
Well, this guy would strictly play the right or left end position. So this would be because I mean he's got the size for an end. He's 6'4", 260. He's a speed rusher type guy.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
And he's not great. He's not the best coverage guy, so I would definitely want him in position.
Yeah, I think my neck is. I think they go another receiver here. Because
what kind of receiver are we thinking?
Well, I'll say this first: is that they have Devontae Adams. He's a great receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But who else? They had Jimmy Graham, great tight end. Who else besides those two?
Noah Fant.
Yeah. the man didn't even exist at that point.
Geronimo Allison.
Yeah.
He's one of the best names in football.
Yeah. You hear that name and you don't think of a player automatically.
I don't. I think a receiver here would be a good pick.
Yeah, you think Calvin Ridley, you think of the person. You think Tyler Locke, you think of the person.
Mm-hmm.
You think Julian Edelman, you think of the person. Or Chris Hogan, you know who they are.
Yeah.
So I think they're going A.J. Brown here.
Ooh, I think that could be a really good pick for them. I think I'll still stick with Clelin Ferrell at edge, but I won't argue against an A.J. Brown wide receiver pick.
If A.J. Brown falls to 30, because he might get picked sooner, he might get picked later, and the Packers already had their defense addressed in the last draft.
Mm-hmm.
go for offense this draft. You're building for a final push for Aaron Rodgers. Give your defense 2 years to develop. Give the young kids on offense a year to develop, and Aaron Rodgers will guide them. There are very few quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers who can handle a team.
Yes.
Albeit not with the best attitude, but can still handle a team. Because the only 3 players that come to mind is Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because those 3 players have proven in their past that they can carry their teams to good seasons.
Yes.
If you want to admit it or not.
Yep.
Remember when Drew Brees had bad defenses? Both constantly dropping 40, 50 points a game?
Yes.
Name another quarterback that could do something like that on a game-to-game basis for a whole season.
Peyton Manning.
Who's currently in the league?
Well, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And he'll have to do it. He'll have to do it again this year because their defense did not get much better.
Yeah, their defense just let the Patriots steamroll them in the end.
I understand. I agree with you. Aaron Rodgers can do it.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson has that ability as well.
Yeah.
Maybe not dropping 50 points a game, but being able to keep the ball out of the defender's hands.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, next up, the Ndamukong LA Rams.
I think they will replace Ndamukong Suh with Jeffrey Simmons out of Mississippi State defensive line.
Jeffrey Simmons. You have to carry me on this one because I have not heard this prospect. They don't really pay attention that much.
He tore his ACL this last season.
Oh, he's that guy. Yeah.
But he's great talent, and so you're not going to get production out of him
this season.
Maybe week 1, but if you let him heal properly and rehab properly, you've already got a team that's going to compete for playoff spots and compete for championships. He will help you later on down the road, and he will be able to replace Ndamukong Suh in the long run.
Yeah, but are you saying I was the ACL person? I knew immediately who you were talking about. That's sad to say, but...
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So, the New England Patriots.
I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I hate their fan base.
Who doesn't at this point? They make Seahawks fans and Steelers fans look like polite children.
I think Bill Belichick here, he's a mastermind. He's going to take a player that is going to immediately fit into the team. He's going to impact the offense right off the bat, and that's tight end Irv Smith Jr. out of Alabama.
I was going to say the same.
He comes in, he'll immediately replace Gronkowski.
Obviously, this isn't what the Patriots would have wanted.
No, but
they wanted Hawk. They wanted any Iowa tight end, really.
True, but Bill Belichick has made a career doing this by not trading up high into the first round and giving away a ton of capital. I think he stays at 32. He takes the number 3 tight end in the class, Irv Smith Jr., and I think it'll all work out for him in the end.
I think one thing that's back to something that he said, Bill Belichick, that the team needs to know the matchup against these big, bulky receivers, your Megatrons of your league.
Yeah.
No, I think Joanne Williams. Joanne Williams.
Joe Juan.
One of the most interesting names because just Joe and Juan together is a name. But he's a big, bulky Patrick Chung style player who's bigger and bulkier than him.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know Patrick Chung.
Yes.
The man's a physical person. On the field. I can see how that can get misconstrued. So I think that wraps this up. Per se.
I think this will wrap up our mock draft before we get going tomorrow.
Yeah. So arguably probably be uploaded on Thursday or tomorrow because I don't know who would watch this at 10:40 p.m.
Nah, It'd be pretty hard pressed. Maybe them people on the East Coast or the West Coast. I mean,
yeah, West Coast, we got all the time in the world.
Us East Coasters over here, we don't have a lot of time on our hands.
So currently, I'll just go over picks 9 through 32 because that's what I actually wrote down. We got Kyler Murray to the Bengals at pick 9, Devin Bush to the Broncos at 10, Andre Dillard to the Bills, Ed Oliver to the Falcons, Cody Ford to the Dolphins, Noah Fant to the Packers, Daniel Jones to the Redskins in a boneheaded decision, Garrett Bradbury to the Panthers, Drew Locke to the Giants, Sean Gary to the Vikings, Montez Sweat to the Titans, Greedy Williams to the Steelers, Dexter Lawrence to the Seahawks, DK Metcalf to the Ravens, Eric McCoy or Chris Winsrom to the Texans, Marquise Brown to the Raiders, Byron Murphy to the Eagles, N'Keal Harry or Paris Campbell to the Colts, clear favorite Josh Jacobs to the Raiders. Whichever Winsrom or McCoy doesn't go to, they go to the Chargers. Mcgarry to the Seahawks, Clayton Farrell or A.J. Brown to the Packers. That's a fun one to see. Jeffrey Simmons to the Rams, and Irv Smith Jr. to the Patriots. That's a draft board I don't think we've seen before, or mock draft.
Nope, I think sounds like it's a Madden created draft.
Yep, that's only something the Madden CPU will probably pick.
Possibly, maybe we're that good.
Maybe. I think by the end of the draft next week, we should review our picks. What we got right, what we got wrong, what we were nowhere close to.
And who the true winners and losers of the draft are.
Yeah, I think draft grades would be fun. Just at least we started this now, so we don't have to spend an entire month of podcasting just to talk about the draft. Because honestly, most people nowadays are just draft. What about the future?
What about the future?
Yeah. Well, if we're all talking about drafts right now, this is the present. What about after the draft?
After the draft?
What about the season schedules? I don't see anyone making stuff on that nowadays.
Exactly. I don't see people sitting here right now, going over the season schedules, going over their team's back-to-back games, things like that.
Wow, that gives me an idea, but it'll probably be 2 weeks too late.
Well, we'll find a way.
Anyways, this has been the Not So Suspicious podcast with me and Mike, and I will see y'all later. Peace.